Spanish soldiers. The Spanish conquered the area. They began to rebuild Quito in 1534. Sorry if you heard my stomach. Spanish colonial rule. Starting in the 1500s, Spain began colonizing parts of South America. From 1535 to 1822, Spain ruled Ecuador. Spain controlled Ecuador's money and treated the Spanish residents better than everyone else. The indigenous peoples of Ecuador grew frustrated with being poorly treated. In 1809, rebels in Quito declared independence from Spain. They were the first people in South America to declare independence. In 1822, Ecuador became an independent country. Now the country is a republic with a president. Presidents can serve up to 8 years in office. Chapter 3. Explore Ecuador. Ecuador is named after the equator. The equator runs through the middle of the planet. There are several sites to visit on the equator. One site is the Quetzalto sundial. It is a large instrument that tells time from the position of the sun in the sky. When the sun is directly overhead at noon, the sundial casts no shadow. People can also explore the Intiñón Solar Museum. Visitors go on tours and do science experiments set up by the museum. Many people also stop to take photographs by the Middle of the World Monument. They can place 1 foot in the northern half and 1 foot in the southern. The Galapagos Islands. The Galapagos Islands are 605 miles or 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador. They consist of 13 major islands. They are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. These sites are important to everyone in the world. Some of the world's rarest animals, such as rainbow-colored iguanas and blue-footed birds, live on the Galapagos Islands. One fish even looks like a bat. Let's take a look at these rare animals. We have Galapagos tortoises, marine iguanas, lava lizards, salanded, Galapagos fur seals, Galapagos penguins, flightless cormorants, large painted locusts, and of course the Darwin's finches, very famous little birds. Mountains and volcanoes. In the center of the country are the Andes Mountains. Two different ridges of this mountain range run side by side. museums in Guayaquil. Presley Norton Museum contains items made by the ancient Valdivians. Beautiful natural areas. One of the most exciting parks in Ecuador is Cotopaxi National Park. It has an active volcano. Visitors hike and bike in the park. People also enjoy the Cayambe Coca Ecological Reserve. This park has the tallest waterfall in Ecuador. Chapter 4: Daily Life. Family life is very important in Ecuador. Families host quinceañera parties to celebrate when girls turn 15. That was my stomach. My goodness. Young people often live with their parents even when they attend college. Family members, including grandparents and cousins, typically live close together. It's like whenever I have to do my quietest videos, my stomach has to be super loud. Oh well. Many languages. Most Ecuadorians speak Spanish, but that is not the only language spoken there. Another popular local language is Quechua. Schools in Ecuador offer a bilingual education. They have classes in both Spanish and indigenous languages. Kids in Ecuador usually start school around age 6. Education is free through college. Common meals. Ecuador has many farms. Farmers grow many crops, including plantains. Plantains are a type of banana that is usually cooked. Ecuador exports more bananas around the world than any other country. I don't know how true that is now. I thought it was only contours, but oh well, maybe it is. Various soups are popular in Ecuador. Soups are sometimes made using fish. They are often very spicy. Ecuadorians make empanadas, which are small meat pies. People also like yapingachos. These are pancakes made from mashed potatoes. They are often stuffed with ice in nearby San Pablo Lake. Chapter 6, Sports and Recreation. Soccer or football is very popular in Ecuador. There are 14 teams in its top national league, the Liga Deportiva Universitaria team from Quito played in the 2008 FIFA Club World Cup. This is the biggest championship in professional international soccer. They did not win, but they were runners-up. When athletes from Ecuador play games in Ecuador, they have a unique advantage. Ecuador is very mountainous. It is at a high altitude. The air is thinner there than at low altitudes. Team members from other countries have to work harder just to breathe. But athletes who are from Ecuador are used to the air. They don't get tired as quickly as their opponents. A variety of activities. Another popular sport in Ecuador is paddleball. The game is played with a soft ball. Players use paddles to hit the ball back and forth. There are also many places for Ecuadorians to enjoy mountain climbing. 2 mountain ranges in Ecuador contain high peaks. Visitors who climb these mountains have awesome views. From fiery volcanoes to colorful cities, Ecuador has sights